was the first day. I said, why don't we go for a date? And she was not ready for that.
Every time niki-reject kitu, he never used to understand that I don't want the same thing that he wants.
I was even doubting whether it is going to work because my previous relationship was toxic.
The same day when his parents came to meet my parents, we realized, oh, we are pregnant.
I, Bianca Wawera Muthoko, do take you, Joseph Mutuko Musyoka, to be my lawful wedded husband.
I promise to love you, comfort you, and care for you for better, for worse,
for richer, for poorer, in sickness, in health, and forsaking all other men to cleave to you.
May God Himself help me to do all this.
Bianca Wawera Mutuko. I am a businesswoman, and I have several businesses here, and they are different businesses. I've been married for 5 years now.
My name is Joseph Musyoka. I'm a flight captain rated with Airbus 330. I'm actively flying and still doing business here and there in different countries.
I would say we met through, not really social media, but through a phone, through a friend. I needed some help in doing a certain business, and I went to his friend and asked him if he knew someone who could help in doing the business that I was doing then. And then he gave me Joe's number, and he asked me to call him. So, and that is how I got his number first. After I got the number, I gave him a call. I remember it was on a Saturday morning. I gave him a call. I was heading to church, and I explained to him what I really wanted. And he asked if we could meet the same day, but since I was going to church, I told him that it was not possible, but it was on Sunday now. He gave me a day and a time where I was supposed to meet him. So we talked, and he confirmed that he would come to the meeting, and we met then in town. So he came from church, and he had told me that we shall meet in town at Ambassador Hotel, and so I went there. I got late, of course, and I found him seated eating. He was having lunch. He was from church. He was carrying a Bible. So that is how we met the first time. Yeah.
I could say that it's love at first sight because, I mean, honestly speaking, I saw a wife at the time she just arrived. So that was an interesting part of it because I didn't even think that the business could continue because I saw someone who I liked at that given moment, and I believed that we can start a relationship with time because honestly, my heart felt for the same.
So when I first saw him, he looked like he is a very strict person, and my mind was set for business. So I thought, oh, this is a very busy person. He's so strict. He didn't smile at me. So when I first saw him, I thought he's the kind of people who are they don't joke. If it's business, it's business. And so when I met him, I sat down, I was so composed. I don't remember if I said hi. I just said, my name is Bianca, I talked to you earlier. And that was it. Yeah, I saw niliona kama he's not the kind of a person you joke with. Yeah. So when I got to the hotel, of course I sat, and he was having his lunch, and I was so afraid of talking to him until he started the conversation, because I thought, how do I start having a conversation with him? I need help from him, and it seemed to me like he is a very straightforward person. I didn't want anything to come from me. So he went direct to what we were doing, the business, na akaniambia, so I work with people, alinipatia tuseme msomo kidogo. I would say that. Juu yeye kunionyesha, this is what we do, this is what we do. Alini lecture, he lectured me first. Akaniambia, I don't work with people who are not patient. I don't work, all the don'ts. And then now we went to talking business after many somea kidogo. I don't know msomo pia ilitoka wapi at that particular time, and we had only met then.
Honestly speaking, msomo ilikuwa ni lazima ikuje, because at that given time I had met different people who were not committed on what they want to do. So I had to draw the lines earlier so that she may not see me like I'm a joker. And that it was a sign of also trying whether she is the best person to live with, or seeing how she gonna react after the same. Luckily, she was patient, and she was keen to listen what we were discussing, and everything flew from the same direction which we were discussing. And from that perspective, then I realized that this may be the right person, because she is patient, she is loving, she is ready and keen to listen. So from my wording, then it really enabled me to understand her more. So I needed to do that so that I may be able to at least learn more about her reaction.
Well, after now sitting and talking about what had taken us to that particular meeting, he kind of started changing the attitude, because I realized that I got something on my face. I don't know what it was. So he took a serviette and wiped my face. And then he told me, I hope sitachapwa na mzee. And then I told him, mimi sina mzee. So I think that was the first move. After wiping my face and telling me that I hope sitachapwa na mzee. So that is how now our conversation ili flow kidogo kidogo. And then I remember I had ordered a drink, a fresh juice. I don't know, kama ilikuwa mango or something. And I took 2 hours, because we had our meeting for 2 hours. Needed take on my 2 hours kukunywa a glass of juice, because nilikuwa namuogopa. And after now, ameanza kuongea kidogo kidogo. Now we are out of business. It was time to go. I remember nikichukua simu yangu tuende, nikafungua simu ikakuja kwa kamera, and he told me, oh, you want a selfie? And mimi intention yangu haikuwa kuchukua selfie. I just told him, oh, sure. And we had our first selfie. Na tukateremka downstairs, and now wakati wa kusema bye, he hugged me. And I'm like, hug inatoka wapi sasa? So nilimhug back, and that is when nili realized, kwani what was that? Hiyo imetoka wapi? And then mimi I went my way, he went his way. Yeah. So now after I went my way, because I was using a public means, matatu of course, my phone was on silent. You know, you don't walk in town simu yako ikilialia, because you don't want to keep kuchukua simu kwa bag and all that. So my phone was on silent, but at a particular point ilifika mali nikachukua simu, nikapata, oh, amenicall. So when I picked the phone, aliniambia, why are you not picking my calls? And I told him, nilikuwa natembea and I haven't had the phone juu iko on silent. Akaniambia angalia message yangu. So when I looked at the messages, it was like, can we go out for a date? So he asked me to go out on a date with him the same day we met. Yes. So that was the second move. The same day we met, and the second move that ali make ikafanya nione there is something here.
I was coming from a very bad position in terms of relationship, and I was even doubting whether it is going to work because my previous relationship was toxic, and I was afraid that I may go the same way again. So I was ready to get someone to start dating on, but I was afraid as well because I never wanted to go in a direction where I had gone before, because I was almost going for a depression or something of the sort. And it was not an easy dating process because I had to push her to at least fit on my shoes. And one thing which I was facing it difficult is for her not to pick calls. Sometimes when I send message, she takes time to respond. So it was not an easy process to me. Until now, we were able to sit down and say, this is the roadmap of our relationship and we want to go in this direction. Particularly by ensuring that you pick calls. If you are not able to pick calls, then I don't quarrel, because I was used to quarrel much when she doesn't pick up the calls. So I had to understand her slowly by slowly. So the dating process was a real process, let me just put it that way. It was the other person, let me just put it that way, because every time, for instance, you can't call me as a flight captain. Sometimes you may travel. Not all the countries you go, you find that you have enough network for the same service provider in your country. So it becomes a challenge, because if you are not able to reach me, then you start complaining that I may have another woman or I am going out with other person. So it was not an easy thing, and I mean, to explain to someone to understand may be a very difficult thing. And I tried to explain, I tried to nurture the relationship, it was not working. So the other individual was the one who was doubtful and was not ready to get married. In fact, in several occasions, she was like, I'm not ready to get married, give me more time. And then now they started another funny relationship with another guy they were working with. So I mean, I was facing a lot of challenge in terms of maintaining that relationship, and that meant me to go in a very bad shape. In one stage, in fact, she carried everything from my house, so I had to start again from zero, and that was not an easy thing for me. And because I was looking for someone, a partner and a life partner for the sake of my life, I had to bring her back to the house and start another relationship afresh. We sat down and said, this is how we want to work together, how we live together. But unfortunately, after 2 months again, she carried everything. So I started again from zero. When I got hold on her, then I thought, because one, she was patient for the first day we met, and she listened. So I thought it's the right move which I need to take.
So every time Nikki reject kitu, he never used to understand that I don't want the same thing that he wants. So yeah, alikuwa nakasirika. He used to be that kind of a person. If he calls you and you don't pick up the call, anakugombanisha.
I mean, it was the first day. I said, why don't we go for a date? And she was not ready for that. In fact, she continued to keep me like on toes in terms of, you have to wait.
Well, having someone who has not healed, let me say that he had not healed from the previous relationship, ilikuwa challenging sana, because mimi pia, I had someone else, we had dated, and it was not, of course, when relationships end, haikuangi kitu mumeachana kwa uzuri, there is always a party that inaenda imeumia. And so for me, that particular time when I met him, I wasn't dating, and I had committed myself, no, wacha kwanza dating ikae kidogo. and for him it was love at first sight. So yeye ako interested and I am not interested. So every time niki-reject kitu, he never used to understand that I don't want the same thing that he wants. So yeye alikuwa nakasirika. He used to be that kind of a person. If he calls you and you don't pick up the call, anakugombanisha. And mimi si mtu wa makelele. I don't want you to start calling me sijui unaniambia nini. So that was the greatest challenge. Juu yeye anaona ni kama ninakataa kushika niko mahali or something, ama ninamuignore. So that was the greatest challenge. He had not healed, and he used to look at me like na nikifanya whatever the other party did to him. So yeah, I would say that challenge kubwa ilikuwa from his side. Juu kitambo aniangalie in a different perspective without comparing me nikikosea with the other person. That was a big challenge on the hiyo issue yetu ya kudate. That was the only challenge that niliface. I had to ensure that kila wakati tukiongea namwambia mimi niko hivi, because he used to tell me this other person used to do the same thing to me. So that was a challenge, to be honest. Yeah.
It took time, and the interesting part of it is that she understood that I was coming from a very toxic relationship. So we tried to nurture, and we sat down and said, now, because both of us, we were in a relationship and the relationships did not end up well, so why don't we try and do things in a different way? Why don't we understand each other? Why don't we do things in a unity way? So from that perspective, we were able to manage our own relationship in a good way. We understood each other, and here we are. I mean, it was the first day. I said, why don't we go for a date? And she was not ready for that. In fact, she continued to keep me like on toes in terms of, you have to wait, not ready. In fact, even for firstborn that time, she said, no, I'm not ready. So it was a process for us to be able to, for myself to be able to propose to her and say, I'm looking for a wife, not a girlfriend. It took time. And it was not an easy thing. She did not give in like out of a phone call or something. It took time for her to accept that she will be interested to get married to me.
Well, on the proposal, we did not have any other proposal. You organize something, you go out, call your friends. He never did that. And he kept, I would say, since I was so hesitant to get into a relationship with him, I still thought, I was in school, I was supposed to graduate. So yeah, nilikuwa naona nakimbia sana. So every time akiniambia, let's make a move, I used to tell him, please give me some time. So I remember there was a particular time hata tulikosana, and because he kept telling me, I want us to get married, I want us to have a child, and to me ilikuwa it was not that fast, but I used to look at it like bado tuko na challenges. So he never went through the proposal, but he used to tell me every time, I want you to be my wife. You have everything that I need from a woman. So I think hiyo kukataa ndio ilifanya maybe aone, if nikiproposea huyo mtu atakubali. So the next thing I remember doing is he told me, I want you to go and meet my parents. So I think that was the proposal. Juu after nimekubali, ilituchukua muda kidogo sana, and he took me to his parents. Yeah, so hakukuwa na ile proposal. Ilikuwa tu hiyo, I am taking you to my parents, you take me to your parents, and that's it. Yeah.
The reception was good, and my parents were happy because they saw a light by the end of the tunnel, because they thought that maybe I will never get married, because I had honestly ran away from the same, and they were not ready for me to go back and look for someone else to get married for. So they were happy to see their son at least having someone. Yeah, the only challenge we were facing with the same was that she was schooling. So my parents were asking, like, are you ready to get involved in a relationship whereby someone is schooling? And you are, sometimes I used to travel much, even more than currently. So she was, I mean, my parents were like, you need to explain to her that you may be traveling in several days. So that was also another challenge. My parents did not believe that she will be able to accept that kind of a relationship, but they were happy in general.
How I introduced him to my parents. So before, my mom kept asking me, do you have a boyfriend? And where is he from? Such kind of questions. But I used to hide him a lot. That's the fact. I never used to tell anyone I have someone. I don't know why I wasn't ready, but I think because of what I had gone through, I used to get a lot of questions from my mom, because he used to treat me a lot. He used to take me out on dates. He used to buy me nice things. I remember there was a particular time he came from Nairobi to my village to pick me because I was at home. He came from here, and that is when my mom knew that, wow, hey, this person then could be serious, because hajawahi ona mtu amekuja tu kunichukua kutoka ushago ananileta Nairobi. So my mom kept asking me, who is this person? Where is he from? And my mom was so worried. So after my mom knew about him that day when he came to pick me from home, so that is when I had the confidence to share with my mom that, yes, now I have this person. He is so and so, is from here and here. And my mom was like, okay. But unaona kuna ka ish, but ataki kuniambia nika nini that ka ish. But let me say that now after amejua niko na boyfriend, then my mom was supportive. He used to ask me a lot about him. How are you doing? Munaendelea aje? Until the day I now called her and told her, now I am bringing this person home for you to meet him, because when he came to get me from the village, my mom alisimama mbali. They never met, hata hawakusalimiana, alimuonea mbali, because mom made sure atamuona. Alisimama mbali mahali hakumuona. And now when I called her to tell her that I am bringing someone home, she was so excited. She called everyone, my aunties, my dad. Yeah. So let me say it was good. Ali acceptiwa vizuri. Yeah. So we didn't plan for the ratio immediately, because we met on April. Was it April? March 11th, and now we started dating officially after 3 months or so. And I remember the same year, September, ndio alinipeleka kwao. So we now started making the plans. But after my parents walimuona wakasema, now you know what you have to bring his parents. We cannot talk kitu na nyinyi ni watoto. We have to see the parents of this man. So we made an official invite for his parents to meet my parents. So, and watu wakajuana, you see those traditional things. But then, the same day when his parents came to meet my parents, we realized, oh, we are pregnant. And you know, in their traditions, and also my tradition, I hear that you are not supposed to make the plans when you're pregnant. So plans zote zenye tulikuwa nazo zikasimama. Yeah. So atuku date tukaingia kwa ratio, and then we went for a white wedding. We had to wait first for the baby to come. And then after the baby came, we stayed for 2 years. Yes. And we had our traditional wedding. Yes. We stayed for 1 year and some months, and then we started planning for a white wedding.
You start giving direction of you can't come here around 8. Sometimes she goes to the chairman, they come to the house at the middle of the night. But I'm happy because I know the people she is with, they are responsible and good people.
Now, after having our traditional wedding, we stayed for 1 year and some months, and then we started planning for a white wedding. At least now we had met, he had met my friends, I had met his friends, and that is when we realized, oh, everyone that we are working with, wote wameolewa, wakona, everyone wanapenda familia, his friends and my friends. So that is when walianza kutuambia, you need to do something. Sisi after our traditional wedding, ni kama tuli relax kidogo tukaona. Yeah, but now to encourage a lot, wakatuambia, we need a white wedding, we need you guys to walk in these shoes like you are ready to do that. So I would say that they helped us a lot, walitu mentor, especially wasimamizi wetu. I remember the lady kept telling me, now you are the head of this family as a wife, you need to plan. So I would say that besides us wanting a white wedding, our best couple contributed to us having the white wedding. They kept us on toes. You need to do this, you need to do this. And in terms of planning, they came through for us, and they did almost everything for us, and it was so easy on our side. The highlight of the wedding day was my gown first. I remember the gown made me realize how bad I wanted a wedding. Because you know, when you are a little child, a little girl, unaangalia harusi za wenyewe and you're like, wow, bibi harusi. So after I got my gown, that is when I realized that, wow, this is the best thing that I have done to myself. Thinking about something, and then in future, Mungu amenisaidia, I am in a white gown. So that was the first thing. And secondly was the church, of course, saying the vows.
long as both shall live.
So mweke sasa, kisema katika jina.
In the name of the Father, the Son, and the Holy Spirit.
In the name of the Father, the Son, and the Holy Spirit. Amen.
Amen. Amen.
Yeah, that was okay. That was also something. It meant a lot to me, and now the reception, the dancing, the friends. We got a lot of support from our pastors. I would say our wedding was my perfect dream wedding. Yeah, everything was what I wanted it to be.
As a man, for the highlight of the wedding may not be a very positive feedback, because you have stress, you have a lot of pressure from all corners of the world. So, in fact, I was just laughing with my wife the other day when I was telling her that I did not know some of the songs which we were played and we danced, that they were played during our wedding. So, for men, we tend to look at it like the time you are saying the vow, that's only the highlight which you can really remember, and maybe the dance after the photo shoot, and the reception, the time you are at least having dance at the reception, the dance floor, the decoration was also perfect. That was my good view of everything, because the decoration was not what I expected, it was more than what I expected. Yeah, so I mean, in fact, our best couple kept on saying we need something which is much unique, and in fact, she forgot to say that our best couple, the husband, kept on telling us that marriage works, and that motivated us to have the wedding as well. So generally, I think everything to me was more or less of a highlight of the wedding.
Well, one thing that I wish someone told me is you have to decide what happens in that house, especially cooking. I had no one to tell me that you have to decide what to make, especially for supper or dinner for your family. You know, sometimes that is the most challenging thing that I face, because I look at our menu and I'm like, oh wow, hakuna kitu hatuna kwa nyumba, yes, hakuna kitu hatujakula, but when I ask him, what would you like to have? He tells me, you decide. That is one thing I wish someone told me about. The second thing that I wish, I never had someone to tell me that, to encourage me that this thing works, to be honest, until I met our best couple. I used to deal with our issues by myself. So akinikosea nilikuwa nina deal nayo kivyangu, and you know that is what is causing a lot of depression and a lot of things online. Unapata watu wamefanya vitu mbaya. So I never had someone to sit me down and tell me that if this happens, this is what you're supposed to do about it. If you need help, you're supposed to talk. So that was a big challenge, especially on dealing with our issues. Yeah, I never had someone to encourage me that hata leo isipo work, kesho ita work. You know, our African mothers don't tell you that. They just tell you, ndoa ni kuvumilia, you go and build your own home. Yes. So if one day my daughter, okay, of course, one day she's gonna get married, I have to sit her down and tell her that this is what you are supposed to do. This is going to work this way, and this is not going to work this way. Yeah.
Marriage works. That's definitely an advice I would really give to couples. And the best thing in life is to get the right partner and live in with a partner of your life. For instance, I didn't believe that I can be in a position to live with someone we are not born and raised together. But I think this is the best type of life someone would want to get involved in. And so long as you are committed, one, you respect each other, you love each other, you are committed, then marriage works. There isn't anything better than marriage in this world. It all the times works in a good way, so long as you are committed and you sit. In fact, we sit down with my wife every time and we pray together. Sometimes when I'm facing challenges, she encourages me. So she is, apart from being my wife, she is my best partner friend. So I usually call her my best partner because we do everything together. You become open to each other. You are loving. You ensure that you give her at least freedom of whatever she wants to do, not to limit her in terms of if she wants to go for the chama, you start giving direction of you can't come here around 8. Sometimes she goes to the chama and they come to the house at the middle of the night. But I'm happy because I know the people she is with, they are responsible and good people. So that freedom you give to your wife, then that gives you also more strength to build the family.
If there's something I would like to repeat from our vows, is that it is for better and for us. Yes, it is not just when we are okay, when things are going our way, but even at our lowest. And I think we have faced our lowest points and our better times. I think that is one thing I would always want to stick around with. Yeah, for better, for us. Tukiwa na furaha, tukiwa tumekasirikiana, we are doing this and we are going to do it. Yeah.
Out of the commitment which we made to the church, I think I will still say that I will love you during the time of sickness, time of difficulties, and even the time we don't have and the time we have, we will live to love each other. That's something which I will repeat even at the middle of the night.
And that's our love story.